In the past, you've alluded to the fact that you said the Liberals were talking to more MPs who are unsatisfied with their parties about joining yours. Where does that stand right now? Is that still the case?
Oh, I think very much so. I think that Canadians who live in conservative ridings look at their MPs and wish they would spend more time proposing solutions, participating in this great project on which we've embarked to build Canada more strong and to continue to diversify our supply chains, to continue to develop markets abroad, and to continue to push our economy.
As you heard, that was the Liberal leader of the House telling reporters that more floor crossings are coming because the Liberals are in conversations with other people's parties to bring them over to the Liberal Party. But before we get into this, we need to talk Bill C-9 and the fact that it left committee yesterday. My name is Nico Lagan, and I'm too conservative for the Conservatives. My co-host, Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the Liberals. We are the Political Orphans. So, it's always a good time in politics in Canada. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. It's not a good thing. It's really not a good thing, but it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. So what? So did they pass C-9, or is there's still more steps?
No. So this is something I've been calling out a few people on this, a few big content creators. Hey guys, stop misleading people. You're not telling the truth right now. They're just, not a lot of people do what I do and spend hours digging in and actually seeing what's going on. They just repost other people's posts thinking that because that guy posted it, it must be true. But there's always a guy that just starts posting it without really looking, and everybody thinks, oh yeah, if that guy posted it, he must have done his research. Well, guys, make your own fucking research. That being said, Bill C-9 is not law yet. It will become law. I said by the end of the month. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the next week maximum. I think it's going to be done by the end of next week. But it left committee, so it is no longer in committee right now. It's left. It's out. It's out of committee. That means it's going back to the House of Commons, where they're going to have one time to read it, debate it, and then they're going to have to vote. There's no more extensions. That was that motion on paper notice that was put on last Friday. Not only does it prevent debate in committee, that it canceled everything. Everybody had to vote on all the amendments yesterday, but it also fast tracks the debate in the House of Commons. So they're only going to have one question period to debate, reread it, debate, and then vote on it. And the Bloc Québécois made it very clear that as long as the Liberals gave them the good faith, they removed the good faith portion of the criminal code under section 319, they were going to vote for it. And they, up to now, they've done what they said they would do because it's out of committee, and the Bloc Québécois voted for it. So yeah, we're in a we're definitely in a situation. Oh yeah, that's just a.
I don't think any doubt on that.
Oh no, there's no doubt. You shouldn't have any doubt on this one. Yeah. And I gotta thank Prairie, because I do believe that she's the one that was sending me stuff earlier, as in 99% that it was her. I just need to give credit where credit is due, but I do believe that it was Prairie that was sending me some stuff today, because she found some videos from the Conservative Party. For some reason, I'm just looking at it right now. I don't know where. Seems like I deleted the link as I was looking here. But I'm looking at our emails right now. I believe that there's another one. God damn it, where did it go? I actually... Oh yeah, that's very professional. I think I deleted the link from my notepad, but hold on. I'm going to go grab it. But
what's it for?
It's an explanation, because they were, they had 4 people on the committee. There was 4 conservative, Andrew Layton, Brock something. Man, my memory sucks right now. But there was 4 people on the committee. that were part of the Conservative Party that were bringing up the conservative portion of the bill. And there we go. I have the link right there. So they recorded a video yesterday in the House. Like you can see that they just finished the voting, and they're just explaining this is what happened, this is what we're looking at, and this is the reality. So what I did is I looked at everything they talked about, and I did some research in order to explain it to you guys, because they talk about some stuff that it's basically legal what they're saying. So I took the time to dig into it so that you guys I could explain it to you. But also I already reached out to John Carpe, and he's going to join us on Monday next week to come and explain what I'm saying. Because again, I'm not a legal expert here, but I do a lot of research, and I confirm that what I said is true. But that being said, it's very, very, it's very problematic. I don't like the way. Hold on, let me see if I can find it on X, because the YouTube video for some reason right now is showing in the reel, and it's very, very terrible to look at. But it was Andrew Lawton. They touch on some stuff. They say that they have a little win out of this, because you'll see in the first part that, the thing we've been talking about a lot, which is the definition of hate that they were adding.
Yes. Yep.
So that part, as per Andrew Lawton, it was removed. As per one of the people, I can't remember. Why didn't he post it? He posted it on his Facebook, but he didn't post it.
Did they change the definition of hate?
Well,
in the bill,
I will. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
They did. Prairie's on fire. Thank you, Prairie. No, I have the post. Prairie. It's just that for some reason it's showing super small in the screen. Yeah, it's doing it again, and I have no way.
We can see that. That looks normal to me.
Does it? It doesn't look super small to you?
It's smallish, but it's not crazy small. I can read. It says the Liberals have forced C-9 through the Justice Committee.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. I thought. Okay, so it's just me then. That's fine. I'll just refresh it, and I'll play it again, because on my side it shows super small for some reason.
No, it's definitely
watchable. So here is I think somebody wrote it. It's Andrew Lawton. There's Barber. There's Brock something, and then an Indian guy that I don't know. But here is what they had to say after the committee passed Bill C-9 yesterday.
The Conservative Justice Team, in a 35-minute meeting, the Liberal members of the Justice Committee, with the backing of the Liberal government and Bloc, have just forced through the divisive and toxic Bill C-9, which takes squarely aim at religious freedom and freedom of expression. The reason the meeting was so efficient was because debate was banned. The Liberals censored debate on their censorship bill. There were a couple of small wins. Roman will talk about that in a moment, but they rejected some very key amendments the Conservatives put forward. Wouldn't even let the amendments be read into the record. Larry, you've been around longer than we have. What's your take on this?
It's an affront to democracy.
So Andrew Lawton, that's Larry Brock, and then the other one I believe is Roman Barber, the small guy to the left. Yes. I'll just let Larry Brock speak now.
Pure and simple. Hypocrisy from this Liberal government. We put forth such good language to amend and strengthen this bill, to give law enforcement additional tools and powers, to make it much more simpler for them to tackle this rising level of anti-Semitism. It just baffles me why this Liberal government says one thing to one part of the country and quite another here in Parliament.
Roman, there was one small win today. What was that?
There was a win in that my amendment to restore the definition of hatred to what the Supreme Court articulated 40 years ago will remain good law. Instead of the Liberals watering down the definition of hatred, hatred will remain as it previously was. It's a consolation prize, but it's an important consolation prize. Unfortunately, our attempt to fix the hate-motivated offense has not worked. I move to try and make it so it only can be coupled onto criminal conduct, but under Bill C-9, even civil conduct, if it's motivated by hate, can attract criminal prosecution. That's an atrocity.
Amarjeet, what do you make of
And that was a very, very important part that you just said there. I'm gonna stop the Indian guy from speaking. He doesn't bring anything to the equation. Plus,
Okay.
you can barely understand what he's saying. But the point is that they made a few. They brought up a few things that needs to be addressed. So let's start by what they call their small wins. So based on the legal context, something that we spoke about with John Carpe many times on the show, that we spoke about with Bruce Party, they are removing the greater than disdained from the bill. They're removing the new definition of hate that it was trying to push, which obviously that's a great thing.
That's a good thing.
But yes, but Roman Barber did mention the 40-year-old hatred definition. So right now, as we've spoken about many times on the show, there's no direct definition of hate in the criminal code. Like, it does not include the word hate.
Okay.
But the court have been relying on a 1990 Supreme Court ruling versus Keegstra to make sense of what hatred was. And basically what the definition that they've been using for the past 40 years is extreme emotion. It must be an intense and extreme emotion beyond dislike. It must go far beyond mere disdain, dislike, or offensiveness. So funny enough, you see how they use disdain? It must be more than disdain or dislike.
Well,
Yet the new definition of hate that was under Bill C-9 was just more than disdain. So, and then the third thing is, but hold on, the third thing is it must be directed at an identifiable group in a way that risks causing a breach of the peace or serious social harm, which even that definition is pretty damn vague if you ask me, and it gives them already a lot of power. But if you remember what John Carpe kept on saying is that very rarely are people getting arrested for this, and there is a reason for that that is extremely problematic that I will speak about. But go ahead, say what you wanted to say.
Well, I was going to say, like, you know, like the definition of hate that they give there, like everyone understands that. Everyone understands what hate means in the regular way that we use the term when we speak in day-to-day life. The problem is when you're talking about a court of fucking law, how do you prove something like greater than disdain in court, right? How is that a legal standard? And these are just such obvious questions about this bill, but they're all afraid to ask them.
But if you listen, it's still beyond dislike. So the definition has been used, although it is not said word for word in the criminal code because there's not a defined definition. It is still a principle that they've been using in the court system. Now, this is a win somehow that greater than disdain is not there. I get it. I understand it. It is a win. But the thing that they did is they did remove the good faith protection under the criminal code section 319, which means right now as we speak, under the criminal code section 319, if you are accused of willfully promoting hatred, you have a set of legal defenses. One of the strongest one is good faith protection, meaning that currently if the law says you cannot be convicted of hate speech if in good faith he, the accuser, uttered or published an opinion on a religious subject or on an opinion based on beliefs in a religious text. That's why they call it the kind of the priest, pastor, or rabbi clause. So whatever they say, it comes from the Bible, it comes from the Torah. You are immune from a hate speech prosecution because you are acting in good faith.
I mean, that just makes sense.
Oh,
to have that kind of a carve out for it. right? Because
I don't think it makes sense at all because there shouldn't be a definition of hate speech.
well,
Hate
sure,
speech just means it's
sure. Yeah, yeah.
hate, it's speech that you hate. Yeah, screw that noise. But I
Yeah,
understand what you're saying.
But yeah, if they have it, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Now,
All right, so go on.
so this is gone. Basically, in Bill C-9 now, it will remove that protection. So the priest, pastor, or rabbi clause has been removed, and now they are no longer immune, meaning that scripture becomes a liability. Without the good faith shield, the mere act of reading certain religious texts in public could be prosecuted, or yet prosecuted as willfully promoting hatred. The subjective trap. The law could no longer care why you said it, your faith. It would only care about how it was received.
That's crazy.
Meaning harm, disdain felt by others. And that brings basically state mandated theology, meaning that this effectively gives the Canadian government the power to edit what is acceptable to say in church, a mosque, or synagogue. If the good faith defense is gone, the state becomes the ultimate decider of which part of your religion is legal to speak about. So we have a small win in the greater than disdain is not there anymore. Then you have the religious aspect, the good faith portion that is gone.
Yep.
And now there's a third portion that's being added to it. And this was part of C-9. And now that you remove the disdain, you're kind of seeing that it didn't matter that much in the first place. So there's a part where he mentioned civil conduct. Right now, hate can only be tagged on an actual criminal, like a crime. So if you commit a murder, but it was done in a hate, it's so idiotic. I can't even say that out loud without laughing.
A hateful murder.
If you're murdering someone, there's hate involved.
Yeah, you can't have hate in your heart. We really want to stand on the murderers who have hate in their heart. If you're gonna murder,
if you're just a if you're a serial killer
from a good place,
if you're a serial killer, you get 25 years. If you're a normal person that feels emotions, then we have to tack on hate to your murder. Yes. So basically, now what they're saying is, as per Bill C-9, the way that it is now, civil conduct, if motivated by hate, can attract criminal prosecution. Here's crazy. What we're talking. Oh, it is absolutely nonsense. So conduct that is normally legal or only civilly actionable could become criminally punishable if a judge finds that it was motivated by hate under the proposed framework of Bill C-9. So actions that may be wrong or harmful but are not crimes could now be handled through criminal justice. So something that used to be just civil. So let's say insulting someone, for example, refusing service in some circumstances. Remember, I think it was in the US, there's a baker that said no to a gay cake. Yeah, exactly. Gay cake, So this in Canada could now be a criminal offense to say no to gay guys because you don't want to do their wedding cake because you're a Christian. So insulting someone, refusing service, workplace dispute, discrimination complaints, harassment that doesn't meet criminal threshold, those under C-9 could all become crimes if they are done under hateful intent. And normally the consequences for civil issues, you're looking at fines, damages, orders to stop, but not jail. Now, under Bill C-9, if you are caught doing something civil that is hateful, you remove that. Oh, shit, hold on. I forgot. There's even a part that's even more troublesome, is that not only are those civil actions now could become criminal. But before Bill C-9, you had the safety valve, as they called it, where the Attorney General had to give consent. That's why it's never used. And John Carpe talked about it this week. If you were accused of hate speech, that means that the Attorney General looked at it and saw a problem.
Yeah.
It
adds a layer of protection for the public.
100%. Now, this is gone. Under Bill C-9, this requirement is gone, meaning that local police and prosecutors have the discretion to initiate these proceedings on their own. So this opens the door for state-sponsored harassment where a single activist or officer can trigger a criminal investigation into your private or public life. So a police officer could literally start a criminal procedure for hatred because, let's say, I was in front of an abortion clinic saying that abortion is murder, which I believe to be true. But now under Bill C-9, if I were to say that and offend people, I'm potentially looking at criminal offense.
That's so crazy, man. Like,
I don't wait before you get wait until I tell you what the consequences are, because this is where it gets really messed up. And this is a question. That's why I reached out to John Carpe, because I need him to come on the show to make sure that what I'm saying is 100% true. But right now, the consequences: a legal picket line or a peaceful protest outside a government office could be reclassified as hate-motivated offense, as in hate towards your government. This carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison if it is proven to be hateful. But here's where it gets really insane, and this is the part that I need John to explain. So I'm gonna say it the way my research is showing. Hopefully I'm wrong, but from what I can find, the most extreme consequences is found in the link between Bill C-9 and Bill C-63, the way it was written. Under these new provisions, new federal offenses, even minor ones, could be upgraded to a crime punishable by life imprisonment if it is found to be motivated by hate.
That's
yes.
crazy. That's crazy.
This means that a non-violent act like spray painting a wall, which is considered mischief, or certain form of protests that are now intimidation, could carry the same maximum penalty as murder simply because of the emotions behind the act. Simply because of the emotion behind the act. This is the only part that I need confirmation on, is the life in prison. The 10 years, that's true. I read it myself. I know that to be true. That we've spoken about. We've covered this so many times. I know this to be true. But the equivalent of murder for doing something that used to be considered civil, a mischief, could now land you in prison for life, the equivalent of murder.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. But you know, I feel like the craziest thing about this is this idea that the standard for criminal prosecution is not the intent of your action; it is how it is perceived. Like, I don't think there should be any hate crime legislation whatsoever, any way, shape, or form. But if you had to have them in there, maybe it could be slightly less crazy if it was based on the intent, right? If it was quite obvious the person is not intending to, cause harm, not that you can even cause harm by words, but just bear with me for a second, then maybe that could be slightly less crazy. But this idea that it's based not on your intent, but on how someone out there feels about it, that is the utter insanity. The other way would just be regular insanity. This is absolute fucking insanity. It's crazy. There's always going to be some idiot out there offended. And how are they going to, like, everyone understands this is meant to sort of crack down on unapproved opinions. And right now, that means right-wing opinions. But what if people start complaining that they're offended by that person, who's got the pro-abortion shirt, or they're offended by any left-wing positions or opinions? Are those going to be investigated just as much? Because that would also be crazy. But like, at least if it's going to be crazy, spread it around. Spread the crazy around. Like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. All righties should start fucking. If this passes, they should be calling this tip line and just flood the system, man. Give these idiots, because it's funny, right? In the UK, you only ever see people being arrested for right-wing positions, and of course, what are you saying? Just there are no offensive left-wing positions. I think that's what they're trying to say, but. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And I'm not even a righty, right? I'm left of center. But I will say regularly on this show, you cannot treat different groups differently. That's a sure way to destroy society. Laws have to apply to everyone equally, and it offends my sense of justice when you see one group singled out like that. One group is a favored group, and one group is singled out. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this gets enforced, because it is passing. There's no way it's not going to pass.
Oh no,
and
that's a done deal.
Yeah,
it's a done deal.
It's certainly going to give shows like us a lot of content to talk about, because every time someone's arrested, we're going to bring it up. Yeah,
or not.
Because we're off air, because we're fucking in jail, maybe. But
you said something interesting, because it's John Carpe that said that, like, it's hard to believe, but do you realize that we've been talking about Bill C-9 for 6 to 7 months? It came out in September last year. That's how long we've been talking about Bill C-9. And in one of those many conversations with John Carpe, one of the things that he said is exactly what you said: overload the system. So basically, if this becomes law, start complaining about absolutely everything. The problem though is that we know how the UK does it. If now, I want to make sure that people understood this. We no longer have that safety net, if you will, from the Attorney General. So the Attorney General does not need to sign on or to sign the dotted line for what's considered hate speech. Now you have local police and local attorneys that work for the city that are capable of doing that. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. And they don't go after the lefties. They're never going to go against Free Palestine, the Free Palestine movement, or, as you said, the pro-abortion people. Oh, this offends me. Oh, yeah, okay, grow up. But if I have the audacity to say that abortion's murder, they're going to come after me. So we're really in a time where I don't even know how to describe it. It's really, I've read 1984 quite a few times. I tend to read it every couple of years to kind of refresh my memory, and it's time for me to reread it again. But I've always wondered, from the first time I read that book, how did they get there? Because George Orwell doesn't explain that in his book. Like, he starts, and they're basically there. And I've always wondered, every time I read that book, I'm like, how did we get there? Now I don't wonder anymore. We're living it. We're living it in life right now. This is exactly how you become 1984.
It's the boiling frog.
The boiling frog?
Yeah. It's the boiling frog, right? Yeah, it's the analogy of the boiling frog. If you put a frog in hot water, it'll immediately jump out, because it recognizes that it went into this hot environment immediately. But you put a frog in room temperature water and slowly raise the heat to boiling, he'll stay in there until he's dead. Yeah, slow incremental change, and no one notices. The boiling frog.
That's a great analogy. God, you did not think about that yourself, did you?
No. It's a
I'm calling you an idiot, bro.
Yeah.
It's great. I never heard about it before, but that makes sense, man.
it works for this situation perfectly. I mean, it's actually meant to talk about just an aspect of human psychology that can be applied to many situations, but it certainly applies to this one really well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Stu, thank you for the tip, sir.
Yes,
Please,
appreciate
people will be rattling and complaining to
Ratting
the
and-
authorities
yeah.
about, ratting. Yeah,
Ratting,
rattling. That's not a word I like, ratting, but
Ratting.
people will be ratting and complaining to the authorities about anyone they don't like. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right.
That's what'll happen. Basically, the police force and the power of the government will be used as a weapon to settle personal scores, and that's exactly what's happening in the UK.
Yep.
Most of those people
Yep.
who are arrested are just getting arrested because someone doesn't like them.
Blue Dragon 2049 is saying, I'm praying to God that justice will come through and we will win. You know, man, if you're Christian like me, you understand that it's gonna get worse before it gets better. We're not at the end right now. We're not. It's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. So unfortunately, we will win, but not before it gets worse, and we are not there yet, unfortunately. Bacon Slayer 69. That is a great fucking name. Bacon Slayer, the Muslims must love you.
Yeah.
Bacon Slayer, slaying with the bacon. The RCMP have become the Gestapo. You know, it's not even, I saw that comment and that's why I wanted to read it.
Well, I
It's
think we
not
got to give
even
them a
the
chance.
but it's not even the RCMP. Oh, they
Go on.
already did. Just look at what they did during the ostrich farm. They already just did what the government was telling them.
So C-9 enforcement specifically.
Oh, bro,
What they're
what
gonna
they
do is
did
they're
during
gonna do
the
what they're
freedom, during the freedom convoy, they became the Gestapo. During the ostrich farm, they did it. So the RCMP is definitely going to become the Gestapo. But what I was trying to say is that it's not even federal police forces anymore. Local police. If Bill C-9 passes the way that it is written right now, which it definitely looks like it will, local police. One of the what's the word I should use? The Montreal police has to be one of the worst police force I've ever dealt with. And I've been all over the country and I've been all over the US. Never seen so much douchebags in one organization. Those guys are going to have the power to tell me I'm hateful? Are you fucking kidding me? It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I got one more
ahead.
to take on. Justice and Fame and Flames? Yeah, Justice and Flames. They burn churches and scream death Canadians and Americans and burn our flags and nothing happens. I agree. I could not agree with you more. It's okay to destroy the Canadian flags. It's okay to yell at us that from the river to the sea. It's okay. That's not hateful. But if I have the audacity to say that abortion's murder, ooh, that is not going to be well received. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. What do we? The answer is lots of good comments there, actually.
Oh yeah. Of course they are. It's a problem, man.
Yeah. The what was the so actually here's a good one. Stu says, is it retroactive? I don't know that that's known yet.
No, it is.
Sure 100%.
A million thousand % sure. Yes. Oh no. We've talked about this multiple times on the show with both John Carpe and I believe it was with Bruce Party. There's no limit. You can backtrack as far as you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be in the present. No. That was one of the problems. And not only there's no timestamp on it, but you will never meet your accuser. Those complaints are done anonymously. So you don't face your accuser in regular court. Oh no, the whole thing, Bill C-9 is such a massive problem. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Sean Fraser, the Minister of Justice, did say that this is applicable to online speech as well.
Oh yeah. Well, I would say it's going to be almost entirely limited to online speech. maybe speeches people give, but I think most of the people who get charged under this are going to be done so because of things they say online.
Well, that's where most of the speech happens, so it would make
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah.
It would absolutely make sense. Stu saying, I'm putting a lawyer on retainer. Yeah, well, if
Not a bad
something
idea.
were to happen to me, luckily enough, I know a lot of constitutional lawyers. And that's a joke I've made with John before, that I know who to call if I'm ever in trouble with my speech. So
Yeah.
hopefully we don't get to that. I really don't feel like fighting that fight if I don't have to, but hey, if it comes to that, we'll deal with the consequences. But that being said, at least I know a lot of people that can
Yeah.
help us out. So
Yeah, but it's gonna be it's certainly gonna be sort of fascinating because it is a wholesale change to Canadian criminal law. To legalize or to criminalize emotions and things like that. It's never really, it's just not, it doesn't exist in the current law. It's not just adding another regular law on the book. It's creating an entirely new category of laws, thought crimes, which of course Orwell warned us about.
couldn't agree more, man. There's another topic I wanted to talk about because I think we'll continue talking about Bill C-9. More and more, especially if it becomes law, as clearly it's going that way. So as I said before, on Monday, we will have John Carpe back on the show to just make sure that everything I said today is true, but that is what my information is telling me, and I've researched it quite a bit over the past 7 months. So yeah, so we'll see what he says, but man, can you imagine? 10 years in prison is a fact. I know that to be true, but it's the life in prison. Can you imagine life in prison for hurting somebody's feelings? It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Your camera's frozen, Rob, by the way. You've been frozen for a little while. Yeah, it's like your camera goes on. It stops as soon as you stop talking.
How's it right now?
As soon as you start talking, it starts moving again. But once you stop,
that's so weird.
it should be the other way around. It should just shut you up.
Yeah, no, yeah, right. Okay, so hopefully it'll go ahead.
All I'm saying is when you're not talking, your camera freezes. That's very interesting.
Yeah, you're saying it should be one of those smart cameras. It just shuts off anytime I do talk, but not gonna have that. You guys will never get rid of me. Won't be that easy.
Hold on. I need to take this. Stefan Drysell is saying, I've been watching the debates on the censorship speech, and I can tell you right now, the pro-speech law side, is losing the debate. So if they pass, it's travesty. I don't know. It's passed.
These debates, they're formalities. I don't think.
It's passed. It's done, bro. That's why I took the comment, because it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
It's passed. The Bloc Québécois said they would pass it. It's done. It's a done deal. Don't worry. You worry. Start worrying now, because the battle has been lost when it comes to Bill C-9. It's a done deal. It is going in.
These debates are formalities for the most part. People can put on record their objections, but they're not going to change any minds. They're not designed to change any minds. What MPs vote yes or no is not determined by these debates. They are determined by who their party leader tells what they'll tell. They'll be told how to vote, essentially.
They walk the line, no questions about it.
Yep.
Justice in Flame is saying that conservatives are on it. They're not. They lost. They're not on it. They lost. The video we played at the beginning was the Justice Committee, and they lost. And they did a terrible job. If you ask me, they did a terrible, terrible, terrible job. They really sucked at what they did. They sucked big time, because their main job, the Conservatives' main job, was to explain to every single Canadian out there that if Bill C-9 passes, it's going to change Canada, and here are the reasons. They did not they did not beat that drum. They made it sound like it was a problem for religious people. Most people are not religious. They don't give a fuck about religion. Most Canadians now want less religions, not more. But they beat that fucking drum about protecting religions. And I'm a Christian, and I'm like, guys, you're not beating the right drum. Beat the fact that you could be imprisoned for 10 years for protesting against your government. So basically, if convoy, by the definition of Bill C-9, the way I understand it, if the Freedom Convoy was to happen in 2 months from now, like it did back in 2022, you could see thousands of people being arrested, facing up to 10 years in prison. That is the reality. And the Conservative did not beat that fucking drum. I've been talking about this for 7 months. I would argue that I'm the guy in Canada, the content creator in Canada that's been talking about this the most. And all they had to do is explain it the way I'm explaining it right now. That if Bill C-9 passes, you could face 10 years in prison for protesting something that is a right that we all have. Yet, as the average person, what Bill C-9 is, they have no clue. They've never heard about it.
Yeah,
that was their job, and they did not do that job. And Pierre Poilievre's to blame more than anybody else. Because remember, guys, on November 7th, 2025, Pierre Poilievre had the opportunity to trigger an election based on the liberal federal budget that they tabled. The Bloc Québécois had tabled amendments, and the NDP voted in favor of the amendments. The Conservative Party voted against the amendments that the Bloc put forward and the NDP backed, thus protecting the Liberals. They had the power on November 7th to fucking trigger an election, yet they did not. And this would have caused Bill C-9 to go down the window. Literally, Bill C-2, C-8, C-9 would have been a history. It would have died just like Bill C-63 died last year when Trudeau triggered an election. Yet they didn't do it. So the Conservative fucked it up. It's their fault if this is passed. It's on them. But at the same time, man, I think they're all on it. They wanted that bill to pass. They don't care. They really don't care. It doesn't apply to them, man. There's no such thing as a left versus right. There's no such thing.
I mean, they don't have there's nothing they can do about it in terms of, Mark Carney's got an effective minority. It was going to pass no matter what. They certainly could have made it harder for them. They certainly should not have made it easy for them. They certainly could have raised, because, as John said yesterday, there is a track record here of people applying pressure, calling their MPs, and them actually changing course. Would they have
the gun ban right now? The gun ban right now is the perfect example.
Yeah.
9 provinces in Canada refused to do it. As per my own calculation through the tracker that I have, 35 different police forces in Canada said no. 35 police associations said no. So you have communities all over Canada that are saying we are not enforcing this. 9 provinces in Canada said no. Why? Because people are not having any of it. Because gun owners, we are more than 2.5 million in Canada. We said, fuck no, it ain't fucking happening. And guess what's going to happen? I guarantee you that them buyback program is going to die. They're going to have to kill it because I think just that 25 grand that we were talking about this week, 25 grand per, they were able to make it make sense to the average person that does not even care about guns. 25 grand to get one gun. Why am I paying for this shit?
Yeah, I think Carney, I think they're just going to back away from it. They're going to, pretend it didn't happen. They're going to kill it quietly. They don't want anything. They know it's not, it's inefficient. It's wasting a ton of money. Nobody wants it. Nobody cares. They want to be able to say they did it and back away. Now, that's a good comment here from Republic Alberta. It says, why is Quebec agreeing to this? The majority of Quebecers are Christian. So I'm gonna say something, then I'll throw it to you to answer the Christian part, because I feel like you probably know a little better about that. But the thing to understand here, this isn't just Quebec agreeing to it; it's Quebec demanding it. Quebec said, no, we're not gonna vote yes on C-9 unless you do this thing, unless you take away this religious exemption. And then Carney said, oh, okay, we'll take away the religious exemption. And Quebec said, yeah, okay, now we're happy. So it's not.
I
just
don't
them
know
agreeing
if he
to it.
was talking about the gun ban or if he was talking about Bill C-9.
No, he's talking about C-9.
But in both cases, Quebec is in favor of the gun ban and they're in favor of Bill C-9.
Yeah, I think a lot of Quebecers are maybe officially Christian because they're Catholics, right? For the most part, like they'll say they are.
They're not.
Just by the numbers? No, by the numbers.
I would argue. Oh no, I would argue that
real life. See, Catholics are different. Catholics are very ritualistic, and many people will go to mass every single Sunday, and they'll do all the things, and they'll say they're a Catholic, but when they're not at church, they don't even think about it. Like it's nothing. It's no part. Whereas if you look at, say, Protestants, typically, if you're going to church every week, you're usually a religious person. You're usually involved and engaged.
But even that is not the case in Quebec. You're not going to find religious people here. If they're religious, it's because they're not Christian. They're going to be Muslims. Oh, yeah, 100%. It's the separation. So Quebec used to be the most religious, the most Christian province in Canada. Since the 70s, since they had the quiet revolution, as they called it, the separation of state and the separation between the state and religion, it is the least, I would argue that it is the least religious province in Canada now.
Well,
nobody cares about this here, man.
I just kind of looked it up, and I don't even think we're talking about different things. But if you Google how much of Quebec is Christians, it says according to 2021, approximately 64.8% of Quebec identifies as Christian. Now we all know there are not 64% of Quebecers are Christian. But that's my point. They're identifying as Christian. Most of them are Catholic. Says 58% are Catholic. They will say it to someone who asks them, "Are you Christian? Are you Catholic?" They'll say, "Yes, I am." But that's as far as it goes. They're not actually, in any real sense, Christian.
I'm telling you, man, those numbers are wrong. Just like most polls, as in the people that they're polling. They're polling people that are above. Who answers? Have you ever been called for a poll and actually stayed on the line and said, oh yes, I'm totally answering all your questions? Nobody does in their right fucking mind, unless you're old and you're alone. These are the people. That's why they never provide you with the age group.
No.
Because
you can get data on that kind of stuff. I don't think everything is like a big conspiracy.
They don't show it though.
It even says here there's a difference between cultural versus practicing, and that's really what we're talking about. It says, while a majority identify as Catholic, church attendance is actually very low, making Quebec one of the least religious provinces in Canada. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we're really not we're talking about the same thing, cultural versus practice. There are many people who identify as Catholic because they go to mass every day and they are not in any way religious, any way, shape, or form. They don't ever think about it. But if you ask them, are you a Christian? Are you a Catholic? They'll say yes.
Okay. We can argue until we're blue in the face on that one. I completely disagree with this fucking nonsense, but I know what you're saying. I fully understand what you're saying.
I'm not making a case for it. I'm just saying there's just facts. Like there are people that will say they're Catholic or Christian and they don't really live it. I mean, that's not a controversial thing. Very few people identify as atheists who will say, I'm an atheist.
But it's not 65%. I guarantee you it's not 65%.
That's
just
the numbers.
Bro, you just go in Montreal right now. I don't know, but man, just walk. You haven't been to Montreal. Montreal is the wokest city in Canada.
This is according to the census. People filling out the census and writing it in. I mean, it's not that crazy.
Of course it is. 2021.
No. If you understand that most people don't actually like it's a cultural thing to them. It's not a religious.
Let me finish. What I'm saying is that since 2021, I don't recognize Montreal. If you go right now to Montreal, I'm a minority. People are not from here anymore. Since 2021, 2020. So if it's from the 2021 census, that means the information's from 2020. Have you seen the amount of mass immigration that we've seen right here in Montreal?
If you ran
no,
it
what
now,
I'm saying,
it might be 58%, but it's not going to change in 4 years. It's not going to disappear overnight. Like these are baked in things.
have you not seen the amount of immigrants that we've had in major cities? Because you don't live in a big province, but I've traveled throughout Canada in all the big cities. I do not recognize Canada from 5 years ago. From when COVID hit, from like 2019 to today, I don't recognize Canada at all whatsoever. That's why I'm saying those numbers from 2021, which means 2020, are no longer accurate today. But even then, there's no way for me to prove it until they come out with more information.
So Trevor says Rob needs to open his eyes. I don't understand what is so. Do you not understand what I'm saying? I'm saying they are not practicing Christians. I understand there are very few, but
No.
you understand that many people perceive Catholic identity as cultural, right? They don't.
But that's not what we're saying.
That's what
you're
I'm
arguing
saying.
on something that. But my point is that you're not
The
listening.
2021 census said that there's 68% of people clicked Catholic. That's just the facts as I'm saying it. I mean, if you think it's going to change in 4 years to what, 20%?
It would be 6 years, not 4, because the information you're looking at is from 2020. The point I'm saying is that we talk about mass immigration all the time. We talk about this stuff all the time and how the past 5 years has completely changed the look of Canada. This is a fact. We know those numbers. We're talking about millions of immigrants every year. That completely changed the look of Canada. And Montreal, Quebec is the wokest of provinces. There's a good reason why.
I'm sure most of those people who click Catholic are probably woke as fuck, and they're probably pro-abortion.
No.
And they're like I'm saying, and none of it matters.
Again,
they're not.
You're not listening. Stop it. You're just trying to defend your point when.
About.
I'm not arguing what you're talking about. That's the whole fucking point. Jesus, just shut the fuck up for a second and listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the demography, I'm not saying that back in 2020, there's not 60% of people that thought they were Christian. I'm not arguing that. That's why you need to stop and listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the population is not the same from 6 years ago. This is the point I'm trying to make.
That much, though, in 5 years.
Brother, get out of your province, man. No, but get out of your province, man.
Census, that number will be probably 58% or 57%.
Oh, brother, get out of your province. Just walking around Montreal, I don't recognize the city I was born in.
You understand, like, anecdotal evidence is like, anyway, I don't even understand how this turned into a debate. I'm just giving a fact here. It's not a poll, it's the census. Everyone has to fill out the census. You click a box where it says, what's your religion? 64% of Quebecers clicked Catholic. What that actually means in the real world, I have no fucking clue. But that is what happened. And in the next census, another number will click Catholic, and then maybe it will be lower. Maybe it will be 55% or 50% or 45%. And I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're talking about with massive demographic change in a short period of time. But it's still, it still will take some time before we're completely replaced. It's not happening in 4 years.
It's not 4, it's 6. And yes, again, you don't look at the numbers.
Trevor,
literally,
it's not 64% of 100 people asked. It's every person in Quebec. It's on the census. Everybody in Quebec filled out the census.
No, I've never filled out a census. The fuck you're talking about? I've never filled out a census. No, I don't give my information to the government. The government can suck on my balls. I don't fucking give information to them.
I think B-Grass is right. I think we are talking about two different things here. I'm just talking about the fact that we're on the census of 2021. How much that has changed? Yes, I don't know. I'm sure it will have changed again.
But that is what you and I are not arguing the same thing. I'm arguing the change. I'm not arguing what happened in 2020. That's not what I'm arguing. Because I'm telling you, man, both the province of the province of Quebec and the province of Ontario, where I spent most of my life in Canada, I can't recognize the places that I've lived in. They look nothing ethnically. They look completely different. And I guarantee you that those numbers are not the same. They're not going to be anywhere close. Is there going to be 60% of people that are religious? Oh yeah, it's probably going to be higher than that now. But it ain't going to be for Christians, is what I'm saying.
Even my point was to say, even forget what's happening right now. If you go back to 2021, of those 64% of people who clicked Catholic, very few of them in practice would be any type of recognizable Christian or Catholic. Most of them.
That's a big problem with Christians. But that's a big problem with Christianity throughout North America. It's not a Quebec problem.
My whole point was responding to the comment of saying, why would Quebec do this when they're so religious? And I was saying, yes, on paper,
they're not.
They may be religious on paper by a census. In practice, they're not.
It's just, I'm curious for the people out there listening to this, because as Rob and I are arguing, I wanted to ask this. If you come from a big city, do you recognize the city you were in? If you've been living in the same city for at least 5 to 10 years, do you recognize your city? Because I don't. I really don't. It's not anecdotal. Everybody I talk to that has the balls to tell the truth here, that's not scared to sound racist, will tell you the same thing, that they don't recognize their cities. They don't recognize where they're from. It looks nothing like what it looked like. And even here, man, like, I got to tell you, man, I was at, I noticed it again last week. I was at Costco with my wife to just go shop, just grab some food. And I'm looking around and I'm like, we were minority. There was, I saw more women veiled than women without. Like, it was mind blowing to me. I was just.
That's crazy. That's
looking around and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, what the hell is happening? And the Costco I went to is not in Montreal. It's in a city called Laval, north of Montreal. And I'm just like, okay, hold on here. Like, I'm my wife is just buying some stuff and I'm just looking around like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, as a white, I'm darker, I tan very easily, but my wife is white with redhead. Like, she is the ultimate white person. It's like a sore thumb in a sea, right? You notice her right away. My son's the same. My son's white, redhead. I was looking around and people look at my son, because redheads is not something that's common anymore, especially not in Canada. So he always gets noticed, like, what the fuck? What's happening with this son? But bro, it was insane. I literally stopped and I'm like, what is happening here? Like, what the hell's happening?
I don't disagree with any of that. Obviously, the immigration is out of control. But yeah, I'm just more talking about the fact that for most people, most white people in Canada, religion is an affiliation base. Like, it's not actually based on any type of real belief system. It's just.
I'm not disagreeing.
What your parents.
That I agree with you. I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, I really find, I think it's really unusual how Quebec really got so bad with the immigration, though, because, Quebec has historically been quite strict about their own immigration. They're the only province, in fact. They've got special powers to limit immigration into Quebec, and they've long used, the French language, say, well, we have to protect the French
but that's
language.
Racist. That'd be racist.
And it's crazy because they've been able to do it for so long, and it seems like in the last couple of years, they just don't care about that shit anymore. Like, do they even still care about protecting the French language and the Quebec law?
Only when it comes to white people.
White people.
Only when it comes to white people. If you're European descent, no. If you're Muslims, they don't care. They don't give two. Bro, I was I don't know if you remember this, but I talked about this on the show. How I know some people that they own a couple of radio stations in Canada. They wanted to buy another one, and it was in Alberta or Saskatchewan. It was one of the two. Sorry, either Saskatchewan or Manitoba. Sorry. And when they went, it's a Christian station right now. They're Christians, and they wanted to just carry the license because you have to buy your frequencies, if you will, because they can only be assigned once, obviously. And they wanted to pass that as part of the radio station. And because they're Christians, they got denied. because they were refusing to talk about trans, they were refusing to talk about
that's right.
gays.
That's right.
I don't know
That's
if you
crazy.
remember this, but they got their license refused, and this is went to the Supreme Court, and they were denied because they said that the government had the right to basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was Leighton Gray. I don't know if you remember constitutional
he was on the
lawyer
show, right?
Leighton Gray. Yes, I had him on the show
Yeah.
to speak to speak about that, because he's the one that argued the case, and they basically lost because the government literally knew that they were breaking the Charter of Rights, but it's okay because it's them doing it. That's basically what happened in court, and I'm listening here. So I go to the gym, I listen to the radio. I would say 3/4 of the radio station I hear now are not in French. If the half of those ones are in English, the rest are speaking languages that I have no fucking clue what they are.
And that's
Are you
shocking.
telling me that? And you
That
know that
Quebecers
those
allow
ones
that.
are, oh, bro, it's insane. I do not recognize the province I was born in, where I spent half of my life.
Well, look at
I do not
these-
recognize this province, man. I
Look
don't
at these
recognize
numbers
it.
as we're talking. I just looked it up. Remember, we keep talking about 2020. Something happened in 2020, and if you look at
100%.
the immigration rates of every Western country, Germany, England, France, UK, Canada, Australia, they all
Yep.
fucking shoot up dramatically in 2020. As if so, it's,
Yep.
are we supposed to believe this is some coincidence? It like
Mhm.
someone is pulling the strings here. Someone decided this. And you can see in this chart here, this is not just an uptrend. This is a massive difference in a fundamental change in the amount of people that are being brought in. Like that's
Mhm.
not just a tweak to the immigration system. That is a fundamental change, and nobody agreed to this. There was no election ran on this. There was no debate to be had. It was just done. And if you notice it, and you say something about it, you're racist.
But let me share this, because I had shared this and I kept it on my laptop. So I just found it. What is it called? Hold on. I'm just gonna share my screen because I don't know what that file is called. So it's just simply that way. Oops. Hold on. Let me show you this right here. Where is it? Can I not? Entire screen. There we go. So here are the numbers of what you're talking about. So this is what we're looking at. So this is the number since 2000. So in the past 26 years, you look at all those numbers, like 14%. So those are the biggest
And
growth
keep in
in
mind,
population.
birth rates are like what?
Oh,
1%, 0.8%.
No.
So anything
Actually,
above that.
Actually, in Canada right now, if you look at people that were born in Canada, so there's
Yes.
three things. It's either
That's true.
born in Canada, my parents were born in Canada, or my grandparents. Sorry, either I was born in Canada, the birth rate is minus 1 point something. It's in the negative. If you're Canadian, if your parents or grandparents were born in Canada, it's absolutely insane. But here are the numbers. So those are the biggest population growth that happened around the world. 14.5% in Austria, Czechia, you're talking 6%, Denmark 12%, Finland 8.6, Germany 1.7, Italy 3.5, Netherlands 13, Portugal 4, Slovak Republic 0.4, Slovenia 6.8, Sweden 19.1, Canada 35%.
34%. That's insane.
34 point.
To grow
We went
35%
from,
of your population in 5 years, 4 years.
but
4
this
years.
is all through immigration. Like we
No,
were
no, that's what I
30
mean.
million.
Birth rate
30 million.
0.8% of that. So the other 34.2 or whatever it is all immigration.
Yeah, and that was the point I was trying to make. And this is in 2024. Those numbers are not even from last year. They're from 2 years ago. So 41 million people. We went from 30 million to 41 million in the span of 25 years, 34.6%. And this is from
All
immigration.
immigration, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
this
and-
is
and
all.
not even-
And we're not talking about Christian Europeans.
We're not talking about quality immigration, right? Many of these are coming here and going on social assistance right away, going on welfare right away.
You
we've
know,
got 300,000 asylum seekers. Costing us 80
man,
grand a year.
as I was editing the video I released earlier from Chris Joseph, the father of Jackson Joseph that died in the Humboldt Bronco bus crash, you know what I realized? I was talking to my wife about the video, and I'm like, holy shit. That guy was the original Indian dude that should have never been driving a truck. You know, now it's a big deal. You see them everywhere over the past. But he was the original. In 2018, we had never heard about that before. He was the first guy really that was publicized, and he killed 16 people and injured seriously 13. How much it has changed. Now it's normal. You hear about Indian drivers that should have never
Killing
been on the
people.
road in the first place, killing people, and that's both in the US and Canada. This is normal now. But he was the original back in 2018. And did you know what the worst part is I wasn't creating content back in 2019. I was a fucking sales engineer making a lot of money, and I didn't give a fuck about this shit. And you know what, man? I didn't even realize that guy was an immigrant, was not even a permanent resident.
I don't think anyone realized back then.
It wasn't publicized. It wasn't sold that way. Today, we're talking about this as in this is a fucking problem. But we're not talking about 20 years ago. We're literally talking 8 years ago.
That's not that long ago.
8 years ago, man. It went from never happening, like never mentioned. The fact that he's not even not Canadian. He doesn't even have a permanent residency. I don't even know how that guy's still in fucking.
He's still here. He's still here, and he'll probably be able to stay. He's got the national media.
No, he's out. He's out. No, he's out. No, he's out. He's out. He's not. He's out.
Who, the
he's
guy?
being deported. Oh yeah. He's being deported. Like the chances of him staying are literally slim to none. Yeah.
I thought it was still.
No.
I thought it was still up for debate. Okay. Well, that's good.
They're trying. CBC is trying to make it sound. The government's trying to make it sound.
Okay.
His lawyer did put a request to put it under. I don't remember the exact terminology, the legal term for it, but it was basically, as Chris was explaining, that they're trying to let him stay here as, you know, the special type of asylum seeker. Exactly, humanitarian. Yes, that was exactly under those reasons. Like he's going back to a thorn. Yep.
Yeah, that's okay. So that's actually, I feel a little bit about that. I thought it was like there was going to be an upcoming hearing, and they weren't sure if he was going to stay or not.
They're trying, but it seems like he's pretty much done. It seems like he's pretty much done. Yeah. Oh fuck. That guy should have been deported a long time ago. That guy probably shouldn't have been here in the first place.
It's like what Chris was saying, last night, where he's like, the main argument is like, oh, well, he's going to leave his, it's cruel to split up his wife and kids. They can go back with him, bro. They can go back with him.
You killed 16 people, bro. How many families did you destroy, asshole?
Well, and I think Chris was like, probably too good of a person to say it explicitly, but I think what he was getting at was that I think he suspects that this guy is having kids on purpose because he knew that when the time came, he would be able to use those kids as his, for leverage, as to say, oh, look, you can't separate me from my kids. My kids are Canadian, is what he would say.
It's good that I'm a hothead and I will say whatever's on my mind. I really don't care because it allowed Chris not to be that guy. He's he's a lot more laid back than I am, but we had a good 50-minute conversation after the show, and we've talked a few times, like we've been texting since the show, and we are working on something where he's gonna come back on the show. And there's a content creator, he's a journalist, I actually quite like him. I don't remember what his last name is, but his first name is Mocha. He's the one that did the interview that was published a few days ago that I saw that made me reach out to Chris. But they're gonna come back. I've been trying to get him on the show because he does some really good work, and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe he is Indian, at least Indian descent. But he does a lot of work on the infiltration of the Sikh movement in Canada and how powerful they are. He's going to come back on this. we're planning it either next week or the week. Either next week or the week, but he already agreed to it. Mocha agreed to it. It's just a matter of booking a date, but either next week, most possibly the week after, Mocha and Chris Joseph are going to come back on the show to speak about the implication that there's something behind this Bronco bus crash. Like the driver, there's a reason why he's protected. I don't want to say too much because I don't know much. All I'm saying is that Mocha's been talking about this stuff for a while. And yes, that's him. Mocha Bezergan. I think there's an R. I think there's an R, but yes, that's the guy.
That'd be, that would be great, because I would like to know more specifics about the Indian diaspora here, because I know some of the outline. I know there's a Khalistani movement within this group. There's the Sikhs. I don't know how I don't know how everything intertwines. I don't know who's against who, but it is important to know those things, right? If we're going to be, if you want to be informed on this stuff, you have to know. Who are, if only so you can push back on it, right? Because next thing you know, we're going to wake up. You're going to start seeing terrorist attacks related to shit happening over there going on over here, if you haven't already.
There's two content creators over the past 2 weeks that were literally killed in their front yard. And those people, but those people talked against the Khalistani. It's assumed that they were killed by them. And thank you, Sylvie, by the way. Mocha is from Turkey. I apologize, Mocha. I did not mean to call you an Indian. I'm just that racist. I saw a brown guy. Obviously, I assume you were from India. I'm just racist, I guess. But I like his content. I really like the guy, and he talks about shit that nobody else talks about, and he's very, very researched. So we're gonna have him on either next week or the week after.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to have that conversation.
I've been contacting him for months. But before you say your speech, we're not going to get to our second topic, obviously. But I need to talk about the sponsor of the show, which is Miss Cleo's Pet Treats. 100% natural, healthy dog treats, made by hand right here in Canada. She's out of Manitoba. She sources everything from local farms in Manitoba. There's no antibiotic. There's no preservative. There's nothing in the meat. It is literally, I think you could eat it. I don't want to say I've eaten some of the treats, but you could probably eat it. It looks like beef jerky. And yeah, my dog loves it. So if you guys have dogs and you know that your dog deserves better than that Chinese crap that's being sold at Walmart, go check out Cleo Cookies and Treats.ca. Use the discount code Political Orphans and get 20% off your entire purchase. All the information is in the description below. That's all I got.
Right on, guys. Excellent show today. Because we didn't have a guest for the first time in a while, we were able to get to a lot of those comments, which is obviously something what we really like to do here. So, guys, keep getting those comments out there. Agree, disagree, whatever you got to say, we'll get to it. If you are just tuning in and you want to support the show, please consider becoming a member. You can do so through YouTube for the low price of $2.99 per month. You can also buy us a coffee, which you will see in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And of course, another way to support us is just keep coming back. Get those comments out there, and we'll keep having the same conversation, because it has to be had. All right, this is a place to have these debates, these discussions, and
those disagreements. I tell you to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up for a second.
Yes. So that you can prove me right with your incorrect arguments. I agree. Yes.
Once again, a fucking liberal talking about his feelings.
But yeah, guys, that is also make sure to like the stream and smash the like button. And I guess you can't share it on YouTube, but no, that's it.
But smash the like button.
Like the smash button. Smash the like button.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, that's what it was.
Spank the like button.
All right, folks.
On that note, guys, we'll see you on Sunday
night.
Peace.
Yep. Peace.